We had our launch day today for the Centre for New Writing, and it started off with a panel discussion with Graham Rule, who's a very innovative novelist, and he has his hand in the arts as well. He was talking about new literary forms and how the page is always very consistently the same from the 18th century to the present. Then we had Ruth Page, who's from the School of English, talking about Twitter and the way in which technology is reshaping writing and the way in which people amalgamate different media platforms. And we also heard from Graham Mort about how he feels very ambiguous being an academic and a creative writer, very reluctant to talk about his own work. And he spoke about his many initiatives in Africa, particularly Uganda, working with Ugandan writers who are producing work for millions and millions of people through the medium of FM radio. We also heard from Alison Moore, who was shortlisted for the Booker Award, talking about her novel and how she feels that there is nothing particularly innovative about it. So she was questioning, as were many of the other speakers, the whole notion of new writing. There was a good audience there. There's a huge amount of goodwill in Leicestershire for the Centre for New Writing. I've always found that there are many open doors and the literary networks are very strong. And we then went on to have our main launch event after tea and coffee and cakes in the bookshop and book signings. Then we heard from Daljit Nagra, who talked through his poetic techniques and his thinking about poetry, his literary influences, which range from dead white writers, Matthew Arnold, and he didn't mention Kipling, but I'm sure Kipling's there somewhere. And explained how he wanted to talk about how Indians get on with Indians, first and second generation writers, moving on to the kind of poets that inspired him, women writers he read for a long time, also Irish writers, and some of these colonial figures, which he got very interested in how people are writing back to those figures and what he can do in paying tribute to English literary forms, but at the same time producing a kind of poetry that is suitable for multicultural society as we find it in reality in Britain. And he talked about his technique and his new project, rewriting the Ramayana. So it was a wonderful talk about technique, and one of the things that I said was that the Centre for New Writing, in many ways, Daljit Nagra embodies the spirit of that, because he's not at all interested, even though he's a Faber poet, in pulling away the ladder behind him, but he has done a lot to champion the work of emerging writers, and in particular writers from the region. And that's important to us because we have a specific specialism in regional literary cultures, as well as an interest in creative writing pedagogy, and also in literary innovation, where that comes from and where it's leading us. So it was a good day, well attended by novelists, poets, and so on, and we were really happy to have such a big crowd today in sweltering hot room. But again, I think from the feedback so far, people are really excited about this centre, and they feel that it puts writers right at the centre of all our activities, because we're practice-led and practice-based. So a good day and the start of something really exciting, we hope.